Good evening, everybody. It is 8 p.m. It is Friday night, and this is the Wrestling Channel. And when you've got Road Warrior Animal on to talk about the most famous tag team in the history of professional wrestling, to talk about unions inside WWE, to talk about the memory of the late great Hawk, steroid testing, drug testing, and wrestling, all inside. When you talk about moving on to the biggest story in wrestling this year, Rob Feinstein right here on the record talking about what happened with Ring of Honor, why he was ejected from the company, what he's doing now, and what everybody thinks about it. When you got all that, hey, it's like Chris Candido, baby. There are no gimmicks needed this week on the Bagpipe Report. Yeah, let's go. Okay, we're moving straight to the news desk this week to jump into our news section. On the phone right now, we have our good friend Brian Alvarez from Seattle, Washington, editor of the Figure 4 weekly newsletter. He's going to join us to talk about the top headlines from all the top wrestling promotions right here on TWC. Hey, Brian, how are you doing this week?
How's it going?
Good. Now we're going to throw back and forth a couple of the news headlines. We're going to start with TNA this week. I've been hearing that Spanky has done some vignettes for them backstage of the Impact tapings recently. Is he going to be coming in, does it look like, to work with Impact in the near future, or is this for something future down the line, or is there nothing worked out yet?
I think he's going to be coming in, but it's going to be something where he's just working limited days, because I think his passion is Japan. And he'll probably be coming in between tours, doing matches, and then leaving. So probably they won't be able to give him like a serious push or build some real storylines around him. But there's always stuff he can do. Kind of like D'Lo, actually.
Right. Because he's in and out, they're not going to make him one of their main focus characters.
Well, he can if he's going to be leaving for weeks at a time. So.
Now, moving right on to WWE, there's a lot, just the last day or two, I've heard so much talk just amongst fans about, Brock Lesnar might be cut from the Vikings. Did you hear this? He mightn't even make the practice squad. That means he's coming back to WWE, but will they want him back? There is talk that he might not make the team, but does that mean that he's immediately going to give up his dream on the NFL, do you think?
I think if he doesn't make the team, he's going to go to Europe, and I think he's even said that. So I'm not quite sure where everybody gets this idea that on Wednesday he's also going to be coming back to WWE because, he's indicated that he wants to do football, and if he wants to do it bad enough, he's got enough of a passion, then being cut from the team isn't going to, just signal the end of his dream. So I highly doubt you'll see him back, and I think that Vince would have him back, no problem, just because he did get a lot of press for trying out for the Vikings, so, they could do something with him. Plus, they can turn it an all-in angle with all the wrestlers upset with him. So.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I don't think he's coming back.
Ditto. Moving right along, Matt Hardy, that whole angle with Lita and Kane getting married on Raw last week, did a pretty good rating. Why did it do a good rating? Does this mean that we're going to see people marrying each other more often on Raw?
I think pretty much every wedding they've ever done has done a huge number. This one added like 1.2 million people, and part of that is just every time they do like a total train wreck segment, a million people tune in.
Just to see what happens.
Like I think the worst Diva thing that they ever did, where they were running around backstage looking for immunity something or other, that put on a ton of viewers because it was so horrible. You just couldn't stop watching. And it was the same thing with the wedding. I don't think this is a sign that we're going to see a lot of weddings. I think this is a sign that they know that, every few months they can do just some absurd segment and it's going to do a big number. And, we'll be seeing more weird things. It's not like someone's going to get married every week.
Well, I don't know. They've had like 3 or 4. I like the way you said, I don't know they'll necessarily have more weddings than they have. I mean, 3 or 4 weddings in 3 or 4 years for a wrestling company, that's a large number, isn't that?
Well, yeah. I'm just saying it's not going to be like a monthly thing or anything.
Oh, so. God. Matt Hardy now, he's had his knee surgery this past week. How long is he going to be out, and how are they going to continue? Are they going to keep the storyline going with Kane and Lita until he comes back in?
I think he's going to be out 8 months, and the last I heard was he's going to have some family members appearing on Raw to defend his honor tonight.
They're not going to do like a bait and switch by saying Matt Hardy's family are coming up next week or something like that, are they?
I don't think
Jeff
they
ain't
mentioned
showing
anything, so I don't think it's going to be a bait and switch. It's just going to be they're going to be there.
Right.
It's not going to be Jeff. It's going to be one of the guys worked as King Adamo, I believe was his name in 01.
Mhm.
He's a huge fat Samoan, and he's going to be Matt Hardy's cousin.
Well, you know, Rikishi got let go. They have to bring in someone.
That's right. So if the wedding was not bad enough, now Matt's cousins are going to be huge fat Samoans. So that's the latest.
Sticking with injury news, I heard that Edge got hurt in Salt Lake City. He was wrestling Chris Jericho the other night. Is there an update on that? I never heard what the full story on it was.
Actually, I don't think anyone's heard, which is kind of strange. But yeah, he screwed up his back, and later that night he could barely move, which is real bad news. So I don't know if it was his back or his hip or what it was, but
Right.
I don't think he'll be on Raw tonight. And yeah, I've heard nothing other than that.
Well, our best wishes go out to Edge on that. It's terrible timing right now, given the fact that he was out so long with that neck injury. He came back. He's been given such a big push. He beat Orton clean like a month and a half ago. It's horrible timing for him. Then we move right on to Chavo Guerrero. Guys who saw SmackDown last week saw Kidman. Kidman has missed the shooting star press a number of occasions, and he's hurt himself and he's hurt other people. Actually, I remember him landing on Vampiro, knocking a couple of teeth out on him at a WCW pay-per-view in '99. He knocked out Chavo Guerrero at SmackDown to the extent where Chavo was stiff as a board. Kidman couldn't even hook his leg afterwards. What's the prognosis on Chavo?
He'll be fine. The thing was, they said he only had a severe concussion, which should tell you how freaked out everybody was that it was something a lot worse.
Good Lord, that's a bad sign.
And the scary thing is, like, if you watch Pride and UFC, guys get knocked out all the time, and nobody ever goes stiff and stays out for like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their feet like 30 seconds later. So this was like a serious thing, and there were a lot of very scared people.
Right.
And I don't think Kidman should ever do that move again as long as he lives on this earth, because, like you said, he screwed it up a million times. He's hurt himself. He's hurt other guys, and it's been an accident waiting to happen for a long time. It's one thing to do it when you're a small, young cruiserweight, but then when you get older and put on a ton of weight, and still keep trying it, and it keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, Kidman was like 80 pounds lighter when he first did that in WCW Saturday Night.
Yeah, you're kind of getting a hint to knock it off, but there was a ton of heat on Kidman for this, and not just from me, but from a lot of the wrestlers, and it was just, it's ridiculous.
It's just going to go back to them changing their whole style again, because I always say this, is that, for instance, Paul London has an amazing shooting star, which of course we haven't seen in WWE because he's been tagging with Kidman, and it's Kidman's move and all yada yada yada. I mean, I remember hearing, Rob Van Dam's being told to tone down his style because they don't want him to hurt himself, and not the argument about him hurting other people, fair enough, but hurting himself, whereas guys like Kane and The Undertaker have injured themselves more often in the gym than Rob Van Dam has in the ring. Is this going to be an example now where they blanket everybody and they tell everybody no shooting star presses, less high spots, as they do every couple of months, it seems?
I don't know, because, there have been a lot of guys. I mean, look at what happened to Brock at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They could just see it as a blanket statement that the move's too dangerous. And I actually believe that for 99% of the guys it is too dangerous. And I think that AJ Styles is going to get hurt real bad someday doing his shooting star springboard to the outside. But I don't think Paul London is in danger of killing himself or anybody else. So if I were going to let anybody do it, it would be him.
Yeah.
But if not, I would just pretty much ban everybody from doing it, because that's one of those moves that it's too dangerous.
If we can get a shot right now of Paul London doing a shooting star press, it is a thing of beauty. He does he's as sure-footed as a mountain goat. Even seeing him do it off a ladder is like a more secure shooting star than I've seen anyone in the business do. He's amazing. Moving right along, Steve Austin and Sean Waltman, X-Pac, were backstage at Raw last week. We were talking about them on the news here last week, actually, saying basically that X-Pac isn't really expected back soon, that he's not on bad terms, but he's not expected back soon, and that Austin's still at loggerheads. Is there any real update here? Because, again, fans are jumping up and down about what if they come back next week, and I don't really see that happening.
He gave people the impression he wasn't coming back anytime soon, so I don't think he'll be back anytime soon. And for all I know, he may go to TNA first. But the thing with Austin is, he's been living in L.A. with DDP, and they've been doing a lot of movie stuff.
Yeah.
And he has really not been in contact with anybody, which means I don't think as hard as in wrestling these days.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was probably him meeting with Vince and saying hi to the guys and saying, maybe someday if you want to do some stuff, I'll come back. But I don't expect to see him weekly on Raw anytime soon, and probably even back anytime soon. But, stranger things have happened.
We're going to move finally on to Ring of Honor news. Some big stuff coming out of them. John Walters beat Doug Williams for the Pure Wrestling title a couple of days ago, and now coming up is Doug Williams challenging Samoa Joe for the heavyweight title. Now, there's two ways looking at this. I'm not on the inside of Ring of Honor, so the two ways to look at this are either A, they're grooming Doug to go over big time, and that's why he put over John Walters for the Pure title. They're grooming him to finally take Samoa Joe's spot. Or B, they're going to start using him less, which is why he dropped the title to John Walters, and he will be putting over Samoa Joe. What would your take on the situation be right now?
It actually might be neither, because I think they've been grooming John Walters for a while. So,
they have been building up to that title win for a couple of months.
Yeah, so it may have just been it was his time, and I don't really see Doug Williams winning the heavyweight title, but at the same time, when Samoa Joe first won the belt, I think it was a deal where nobody could figure out why Samoa Joe won the belt. But they did such a great job with him as champion that, like, right now,
he's very hot. Yeah.
All the fans consider him the guy.
Yeah.
So it could be a deal where they just do kind of a surprise upset and go all the way with Doug Williams. But I think, if anything, it's just Samoa Joe's going to beat him and hold the belt for God knows how long.
Right. There was talk before that in Doug Williams, they were interested in the idea of having him defend Ring of Honor titles outside America. He defended it against Double C in England a couple of weeks ago. Is that sort of idea now dead in the water, I suppose, since they took the title off him?
Well, pretty much. But the thing was, anybody can defend the title anywhere as long as they fly the guy out.
Yeah.
So, and this could end up just being a short reign for John Walters or whatever. But, things change regularly, so who knows?
Now, it was just announced that Jushin Thunder Liger will be making wrestling appearances in the main event of some Ring of Honor shows coming up November 5th and 6th. Am I wrong here? Was the last time I saw Jushin Thunder Liger on U.S. television, did it involve a tequila bottle and Juventud on Nitro, or was he on
yes,
U.S.
it
TV?
did, but I can assure you there will not be a tequila bottle involved this time.
Do we have a guarantee on that?
Yes, actually, well, no, I can't guarantee that. Because I could see them doing some sort of spoof where someone tries to use a tequila bottle, but Liger thwarts them.
Yeah.
So, but he will not be hit with a tequila bottle, I can assure you of that.
Is this an indication of a broader new relationship between Ring of Honor and New Japan, or is this a one-shot deal?
I'm actually not sure what the deal is yet, but my guess is that he's going to be in the country, so they're going to use him on the show. But it may end up being some sort of talent exchange deal. But, New Japan runs so many tours that it's kind of hard to do talent exchange unless the guys just come in for a couple of weeks between tours. But what can you really do with them with 2 weeks? So, I don't know. We'll see.
And Mick Foley is going to be making his first Ring of Honor appearance, I believe it's September 11th, and we just heard that he signed on for 2 more appearances. We don't know what they're going to entail. Nobody has said that he's going to wrestle yet. There's been no hints of anything like that. But why is Foley involved with Ring of Honor, and what do you expect him to be doing at these shows? And then, as well as that, has this anything to do with his relationship with WWE?
I doubt it has anything to do with it. I don't think it's going to be a long-term deal because I'm pretty sure he's got a book coming out in the fall, which means he'll be going back to WWE to promote it. So if he wrestles, it'll be on the last show only. I don't see him wrestling all 3 shows. He'll probably come in and do kind of like a Ricky Steamboat type deal where he'll do some sort of out-of-the-ring dealy bob and maybe work his way into a feud with somebody and culminate with a match. But realistically, I think there's probably 0 chance of him actually doing a match. But like I said, if he does do one, it'll be the last one only.
He'll probably come in, based on Foley's track record, he'll probably come in, and if not via 1, 2, 3, he'll probably be looking there to give some rubs to some younger guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing with us today. We'll talk to you again very soon. You take care, everybody. Check out WrestlingObserver.com. You can find out all about the Figure 4 weekly newsletter edited by Brian Alvarez. Thank you, Brian.
Cool, thanks.
For the move of the week this week, we're going to take you back 2 weeks to the Super J Cup. We showed you that supercard from 1994. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. One of the great matches we saw on the show was between two guys who would go on to be WWF superstars. One of them, the great Sasuke, would come in 1997 and help build up their cruiserweight division with some great matches. Also went to ECW. The other man, Chris Benoit, you'll know very, very well, recently World Heavyweight Champion, no less. This move is, I believe it's called, I'm open to being corrected here, it's a Space Flying Tiger Drop the last time I saw it in the US, which was, I believe, Hakushi using it at SummerSlam 1995. Check it out, it's an amazingly athletic move, and it is the great Suzuki, I should say, taking out Chris Benoit during the Super J Cup in 1994. Okay, this coming Sunday, as always, it is Supercard Sunday right here on TWC, and we're going to take you back to Ring of Honor Unscripted. It is one of their early great shows from 2002, featuring a huge list of fantastic talent. Paul London, current WWF Tag Team Champion, takes on Michael Shane in a street fight, who's obviously now a star of NWA TNA. We've got Low Key versus Xavier. Amazing Red is on the card. Christopher Daniels. Michael Modest, who we talked to recently from Noah, teams up with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. There's a tag team tournament where the winners will be the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Check out your preview for Ring of Honor Unscripted this Sunday, 8 p.m. right here on the Wrestling Channel. Okay, it is now a pleasure to have on the line from over in the U.S. a good friend and an even greater legend to the world of professional wrestling. The last time we spoke on the record was just hours removed from his late great tag team partner passing away, the legendary Road Warrior Hawk. And right now we're speaking to one of the all-time greats, one of the most decorated wrestlers in the business, part of the most recognized tag team in wrestling. Road Warrior Animal, it's a pleasure to have you on the Bagpipe Report. How are you?
Yeah, how you doing? It's always great to be on the Bagpipe segment.
Thank you very much. Well, the first thing I got to ask, how are you doing? What are you working on right now?
Well, I'm still, being as lucky and as fortunate as Hawk and I were. You know, our gimmick is still, it's like a never-ending deal. I've actually been busier since Hawk's passed than I was before. I mean, gimmick's still stronger than ever. It's like I never stepped away from the ring. It's just amazing. The more and more I could put on, WWE games or Legends of Wrestling games, and I'm going to be on the next Raw versus SmackDown game.
Oh, really?
The more my popularity stays up there, so.
Well, we're now, the last time I talked to you on the record, we had your immediate candid thoughts. We're now 1 year removed. What are the thoughts and the memories from the great legacy you and Hawk had together in the business? What are the thoughts that come to the forefront when you think back about the 20 years you guys were working together?
Well, I think, what comes to the forefront is that, Hawk and I don't think that the wrestling business, the guys that are wrestling, actually really appreciate the road we had to hoe and travel to get the business where it is today.
Would you like to be working with WWE right now?
I wouldn't mind probably in the agent aspect of it. I mean, I'm still physically in in great shape like I've always been, and I'm still, mentally healthy and everything else to do it if I wanted to. I don't know if I'd want to do it without Hawk. If they had a decent angle together with me or somebody else, that would be fine. I'd probably entertain the fact, but I'm more than capable to be behind the scenes in that corporation and that company and help that company grow.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely have a lot more experience than their writers have, I'll tell you that.
Do you think that it's a mistake? A lot of people criticize WWE right now because when they look for writers, when they look for people to come up with the product, they never go looking for people in the business. They always go looking to Hollywood. Do you think that's a mistake?
I think it's a total mistake. Hollywood is Hollywood and wrestling is wrestling. A guy like myself that's been in wrestling for over 20 years will know more in his little pinky nail than a guy from Hollywood to know on how to write scenes and how to write angles and do different things to attract people, because we know what it takes to be in the ring to get that crowd to pop and to please them. And if you look at now, you and I talked before, the business was hot-shotted for a while. It was hot-shotted to the fact of the shock value. Well, people don't want to see the shock value anymore. They want to see good, fan-friendly entertainment, and they want to see good guy versus bad guy, and they want to see two guys go out there and give them what they paid for.
Mm-hmm. Do you regret the fact that you and Hawk, I mean, when they started WWE Attitude in 1998, it was sort of, they sort of took the ECW idea but turned it into this international thing. And you and Hawk were back with WWE then. You guys were big stars. And they used that, and they had Hawk, of course, portray the alcoholic, suicidal angle on screen. Do you regret the fact that you guys were a part of that?
Well, I didn't want to do it to begin with. I didn't want to do it from day one. As a matter of fact, they wanted me to do that, and I refused. And Hawk said, I'll do it. And they were just trying to be a businessman, and they overlooked the fact of Hawk trying to be a businessman. You can't hit things that are a little bit too close to home, and that angle would have been a little bit too close to home.
Yeah.
I was never a big fan of the ECW era anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm not a real big fan of that, the barbed wires and the explosion matches and the thumbtack matches, because I think that's cheap entertainment. I don't think it takes a brain surgeon, and the guy's got to be off his rocker to fall on a bunch of thumbtacks, to make money. Mm-hmm. And as well as today, too. I never really liked the way I think Stone Cold Steve Austin, Steve was one heck of a piece of talent in this business, could have got as equally as popular by not drinking the beer and shooting the bird to everybody on TV either. That's just my own opinion.
Do you think that WWE should have done more to honor Hawk when he did pass away? And I could ask this about a lot of great legends like Kurt Hennig and guys that have passed away.
Yeah, well, I think they could have. There's a lot of other great legends, but I don't think there's any other entity in pro wrestling that has done anything more for tag team wrestling than Hawk and I have done. Mm-hmm. We crossed more barriers and had changed the outlook of wrestling and changed the view of what big guys can do in the ring more than anybody. Mm-hmm. I think they could have done more. I think they probably could have brought myself on TV to the dedication show. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's all about ratings and getting it out there right away. And I didn't have a chance. I didn't even get a phone call before it was already dedicated to Hawk. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was already done. Same with the Japanese people. Japanese people did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Japan did a dedication show, the very next Dome show, and never even asked to fly me over. And how do you do that? How do you dedicate something to a partner or to an entity like Hawk and I were in Japan, and not even have his partner come over there? It's ridiculous, So
yeah. How do you feel about you're in a position now where you've seen your partner who had done 100% the rock star on the road lifestyle, whereas you yourself have talked about being more conservative on the road. Do you feel that promotions like WWE or WCW, whoever it is, when you work for a big promotion, do you think they should regulate for substances and steroids and things like that more heavily, or do you think it's still better, even with your loss, to let it up to the individual?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it should be regulated. Mm-hmm. I think it should be regulated, and I think that what should happen, I said, if our business were a union and we had union benefits, I don't think you would have any problem with the guys. Mm-hmm. I think the guys would welcome it. Mm-hmm. But right now, as it sits, The guys have to do, we pay all our own taxes, we pay all our own benefits, we pay all our own medical, dental, health.
Technically, you're free agents, aren't you? I mean, you're
You know,
independent
anything
contractors.
anything you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
We pay all our own outside costs. Now, if we were treated like an employee and not an independent contractor, well then yes. Mm-hmm. But I think every one of the top guys in the wrestling business, even guys like Undertaker, Stone Cold, and guys like The Rock, were all as much money as everybody all made. We still didn't make enough. Mm-hmm. Because we were not unionized. If we were unionized and had a governing body to fight for us, we would have had a better tax break. We would have had benefits. We would have had a lot of things that like a regular corporation, like the NFL per se, and like the fans, the guy. I don't think the guys would have minded. Say, hey, okay, test me anytime you want. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then if a guy fails a test in that kind of setting, well, then by all means he deserves to be punished.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think now? What kind of advice would you give to young guys getting into the business who have? It's amazing in this business. It really seems that the next generation never learns from, I suppose, the mistakes of the generation before. And because the wrestling business has been opened up so much with the popularity of wrestlers like Hawk and Animal and Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake Roberts the last 20 years, what advice would you give people getting into the business to hopefully steer them in the right direction?
Well, get it in writing. Mm-hmm. Get everything you do in writing, because they can be here today and tomorrow they can cancel if you don't get it in writing. Mm-hmm. Don't go by promises. Don't go by handshakes. Don't say, I promise you, give you my word. Don't go by any of that. Get it in writing, because you never know. And don't. The business is going to turn back around. The wrestling business is going to eventually be going back to good guy, bad guy, and strong, fan-friendly entertainment, because that's what it was based on.
Well, it's terrific to hear that you're still up to your ears in work, as well you should be. Thank you so much, Road Warrior Animal, for sharing some insights and thoughts on the wrestling industry. It's been a pleasure to have you here on the Bagpipe Report.
All right, thank you, guys.
Take care. Okay, on the phone with us right now from the USA is one of the more controversial figures in wrestling this year. The promotion that he began, that he pioneered, many will tell you, Ring of Honor, has gone from strength to strength the last 2 years. This last couple of months has been embroiled in controversy. He is indeed a firebrand in the wrestling world, has had many great successes, and he continues to work at RF Video, a company which continues to enjoy even more success as we speak. On the phone right now is Rob Feinstein. How are you, Rob?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Well, thank you for joining us here on the Bagpipe Report. The first thing I want to ask you about is the status of RF Video right now. What is your relationship to RF Video? What is your relationship to Ring of Honor? And what is your daily work like?
Okay, well, I'm 100% owner of RF Video once again, and I'm back with the company. I'm rebuilding it, restructuring it, and making it stronger than ever. The status of the company, it's really doing good again. Took a hit after the incident, the scandal first broke, but in the last couple of weeks, actually the last month and a half, orders are coming in again. More and more customers are, a lot of people I think thought that RF Video went out of business because we didn't put out a wrestling update for 8 months in the mail. Even when I was with the company, there was a lot of stuff that was being ignored. We were spending a lot of time on Ring of Honor. And we were kind of like pushing RF Video to the side. It was becoming, the red-headed stepchild, so to speak. Right. And now that I'm back, and this is my main focus, and this is where I'm putting all my energy into again. I'm looking to make RF Video even stronger, and we've got a lot of new shoot interviews on the way. We've done a lot of shoot interviews in the past couple of weeks, and we actually just put out an update for the first time on our mailing list 2 weeks back, and we just did a huge email campaign to all our customers. So we're really building up RF Video once again, and we're giving it the attention it deserves.
We're going to get into some of the more controversial elements earlier this year, a bit later on. But have you found that since that took place, that it's been more difficult getting guys to do RF shoot videos, to do shoot interviews?
No, not at all, because most of the guys could see through all the BS, and especially the veterans and the older guys that I've worked with in the past. They've been around the business forever. And the only people that are really giving me a hard time now are the young guys that I actually helped break into the business, and that's just because of people that are influencing them. And they're scared. They talk to me, but they're scared to let anybody know that they talk to me. And whatever, to each his own. As long as they're talking to me, and they all, say they're going to do business with me down the line. And I talk to almost everybody on a weekly basis. So.
Right.
But I've had no problem getting interviews.
Now, let's go back to Ring of Honor a couple of years ago when I first started out. It was a nice idea to begin with, and it soon turned into much more than that. What were your expectations with Ring of Honor, and how did you finance those first few shows? Was it all money from RF Video, or did you have to get loans as well?
No, not at all. It was all my personal money. For the first year and a half, it was all myself. I was 100% owner for the first year and a half. What happened is me and Doug, we after ECW went out of business, there was a big void left, and we came up with an idea. It was around December of 2001. It was after ECW went out. I was sitting around, and we were going to indie shows, and we were going to these shows, and we were saying to ourselves, if these promoters could do that, we could start up a wrestling promotion. We know a lot of people in the business, and we have incredible ideas. I think I've been around the business since I was like 18. I've been a fan since I was 9, but I actually started getting into the business when I was 18, so that was like about 15 years I've been in the business for. So I learned a lot over 15 years, and I figured that, we could start something up. And basically our first show was February 23rd in 2002 in Philadelphia. And when we presented Ring of Honor, we wanted to present it as a sport. And we wanted to be totally different from ECW. We realized that ECW was in the past. We wanted to be something new and fresh. And I never liked the WWF style. I always thought it would insult your intelligence. And I was a huge fan back in the day of like the NWA and Bill Watts' Mid-South territory, UWF and Memphis, and territories that were built on wrestling. And we wanted to bring back the realism to our professional wrestling. And we came up with the idea of Ring of Honor.
What do you think of the Ring of Honor product today? Do you think that it upholds the principles that it began with? Do you think there's been too much storyline or too much hardcore, or is it today what you would have envisioned it being when you began it in 2002?
No, I think it's pretty much the same, and I think it's going in the right direction. They got more and more into storylines, and they're adding a little bit of the hardcore stuff to it, which needed to be done, in my opinion, a while back. But it's still going strong, and I'm happy. It's my baby.
Have you any relationship with Ring of Honor right now?
Absolutely none, and I don't want to have any.
Do you have any resentment over the fact that you were essentially forced out of the company earlier this year? Do you resent the fact that you began this and suddenly you're the guy on the outside?
Well, you know what? It's I can't comment on it too much. The fans know the real deal, and you guys obviously you know the real deal. Everything happens for a reason. And, I can't be there for, reasons that I can't discuss. And actually, I have the attitude now, everything happens for a reason. And I'm spending more time with RF Video. And when I can, when time permits, I'll definitely 100% be restarting a promotion with Doug once again, your, brainchild of Ring of Honor. And we're going to do something that's, a brand new concept once again. So.
What do you think you've learned from the situation earlier this year? What happened, of course, is that there was a situation where there was a group of guys who, this was not an official, this was not a police action, this was not a legal situation. This is where pretty much an outlaw group who go around, they want to catch people who are into child pornography, that area. They went around unofficially off the record and came up with evidence, video footage that aired on television to a local affiliate of you going up to a house where they say that you expected to find a young child inside.
Well, here's the details. This is exactly what happened, and it had nothing to do with child pornography or anything like that. And they weren't the guys that actually caught me on video either. Here's the real story. This is exactly what happened. It was February 28th. I was in an adult chat room for adults on AOL. Had nothing to do with myself being in children's chat rooms. I was not on the internet stalking little kids or anything like this. I was in AOL, and I was in an adult chat room. I was approached by somebody. The person's profile, I don't know if you guys are familiar with AOL, where you can check somebody's profile.
We are.
Well, this person's profile, said college student, had a bunch of information. I don't know if you guys know about profiles where you could click on the link and you could see pictures of the person. This person had 3 pictures of themselves. They were not naked or anything like that, and it was clear as day that it was an adult. It was not a child whatsoever. And in fact, a very well-known wrestling journalist over here in the United States, along with a lot of other people when the story first broke, saw the pictures, and he will tell you that it was never a 14-year-old person. It was a college person.
Who
I
is
got
that?
into a conversation with the person online over, I believe it was a 2-day period. Had a lot of similar interests and stuff like that. And I talked to him for the first day. Everything was fine. He told me a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that he was telling me seemed shady, but I related to a lot of his problems that he was going through. I talked to him the next day. When I talked to him the next day, he wanted to meet me. I was very, hesitant to meet him, and I talked to him on the phone a couple times. When I talked to this person on the phone, it was clear as day that it was an adult. It would be like me talking to you right now. You could tell from the person's voice, very mature, had a conversation with him. Even on the computer, very mature, and it was never... I don't know if you guys read the chat transcript, but I never, ever initiated any sexual talk at all. I was not a pervert. There was this person that was trying to lure me in and get me to discuss a bunch of stuff that, I'm not even into. So basically what happened, I told the person, before I even went up to go meet, I said, if we hang out, I am not having sex. I said, I'm not into that at all. I am coming up there to be your friend. And I said, it is your choice if you want me to come up there.
Did you
I
say,
said,
did you say this in chat, or did you say this on the phone?
What's that?
Did you say this, what you're saying
That's
now?
in the transcript. You could read it.
Mm-hmm.
It's on their website. I said absolutely no sex. I said I'm coming up to be your friend. And, I said, in fact, when I talked to him on the phone, I was bringing another friend of mine. There's a mall by where this person lives. We were all going to go hang out or do whatever. There was no conversations, regarding sex.
Mm-hmm.
So the person's like, all right, come up. So I go up to the house, and when I get to the door, it was in a very nice residential neighborhood. Just when I got to the house, just things didn't seem right. The house looked abandoned. As it turns out, I go to the front door and I knock on the door. I'm telling you, as soon as I knock on the door, there's a camera shoved in my face with a reporter. Basically, the reporter comes and says to me, "Are you Timmy?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Timmy, your name's Timmy." He goes, "Why are you here to have sex with two 14-year-old girls?" So at that moment, I was like, all right, I was just set up by NBC News, and I had nothing to say because I didn't know if it was live TV. So I ran to my car and I drove off. There's a website called Corruptus. I think it's corrupted/justice.com, or it might be corrupted-justice.com. They'll tell you all about the practices of perverted justice. They are known to add things to the transcripts. They lie. Basically, this website, Perverted Justice, is working with NBC that week. It was sweeps weeks here in Philadelphia, and they were trying to get ratings. What happened is when I was talking to these people on the computer, I was talking to a guy from Perverted Justice. Everything I was saying, he was, I guess, broadcasting it back to the NBC people who were waiting in this house. They rented out a house for the weekend in this neighborhood, and what they did is they lured potential predators or pedophiles, whatever you want to call them. They would get into conversations with them and lure them to this house. And it wasn't Perverted Justice that filmed me. It was the NBC.
So
and they basically set me up, and, I took the bait, obviously, and I went to the house, and that's what happened.
So you can say on the record that you have never been involved with minors in this way that people
Absolutely
are accusing
not.
you of being?
Absolutely not. I never for a second thought it was a child. And there was never a child. It was an adult that I was talking to on the phone. It was an adult's pictures. The chat transcript, is filled with lies, and there's so much stuff in that chat transcript that is just bullshit.
Did they add to your side of the chat?
What do you mean?
Did they add things in that you didn't?
Oh
say
yeah,
to the
yeah,
transcript?
and that's what's being worked on. They added also sidebar comments. Like they shed me in a wrong light. Of course, they bolded certain things that they claimed that I said, and of course they never bolded the part of the conversation where I said no sex. I'm just going to be your friend. So they played around with the chat, and I get have a chat with you, and I get add stuff. It's very easy to do.
If they set you up and if they added things to this chat transcript, have you considered taking them to court for defamation of character?
I am. I'm working on all of this right now with a lawyer. In fact, if you check out that website that I told you about, corruptedjustice.com, as we speak, there are 9 lawyers from 9 other people that there's going to be a joint action lawsuit against Perverted Justice. There's a lot of people going to be involved. They have ruined a lot of people's lives, a lot of innocent people's lives. Now, a lot of people ask me if, I think what they're doing is a good idea, and, it is, but they're going about it the wrong way, and they're harming a lot of innocent people that are not pedophiles or perverts. I've went on their website and I've read some of the conversations with some of the other people that they've done this to, and those people deserve to get what they got. But at the same time, the way this website Perverted Justice goes about it is entirely wrong. They entrap you, they lie to you, and they do a lot of stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming forward with your side of the story here on the Bagpipe Report. I'm sure that this will be met, much like your original incrimination, with a lot of discussion online and through wrestling fans. Now, let's move back to the future. RF Video, what are you guys working on right now, and what are your aspirations in the future of the wrestling business? Are you going to get back involved in a promotion like Ring of Honor? Are you going to focus on RF Video, and what does RF Video have to offer from here?
Okay, well, right now I'm focusing on RF Video. I'm going to try to make this company as strong as ever. We're getting back to the level we were once at. In fact, I'd say we've over-succeeded that. And we have a lot of shoot interviews scheduled for the fall. And, there's a lot of wrestling conventions coming up. We have made a lot of deals over the last couple of months with a lot of new wrestling promotions that are out there. A lot of wrestling promoters who have promotions, and there's two really big ones, in fact, have contacted me about wanting me and Doug to come into their company and try to do what we've done with Ring of Honor and help their companies. Mm-hmm. And one of them is, there's two of them, but one is a major company. And, as of right now, I can't do anything, like that, but it's an option for us. My main goal, honestly, is to get RF Video going, even stronger than ever with our shoot interviews and filming the top indie shows across the country. But my main goal is, when the time is right, we want to start up another wrestling promotion. And, a lot of the fans out there know that I was responsible, along with Doug, for, everything you see right now in Ring of Honor. So it can be done once again. And we have a couple other people that are going to be involved in this project. And we already have a concept of what we want to do. I think it's going to be something that's never really been done before here in the United States. It's going to be different. It's not going to be the same old, wrestling. It's going to be a new concept, and I think it's going to really work, and I think the fans are really going to appreciate what we have to offer.
Well, the controversial figure, Rob Feinstein, thank you very much for coming here on the Bagpipe Report and giving your candid side to one of the biggest stories this year. Best of luck with RF Video, which continues to be one of the biggest tape trader over in the U.S. with tapes from all over the world. And we will talk to you again. Take care.
Hey, thanks, man, for having me.
You're welcome. Another week, another 200 pounds worth of merchandise, courtesy of our friends. They'd be your friends too if they give you 200 quid worth of merchandise over at the TWC online store, thewrestlingchannel.tv/shop. You want to win this stuff, you answer one very simple question about one of three promotions which we feature here on TWC, among so many more. The question is, which promotion is run by John Zandig? Is it A, 3PW, B, CZW, or C, NWA Wildside? The answers are A, B, or C, and you can text them Blake A, Blake B, or Blake C, depending on your option, to 88066. And the closing date for this competition is this coming Thursday, the 9th of September. Q&A time here on TBR. Get your questions in by text or email to the information on the screen right there. Our first question this week comes from Gurvinder Verdi. I hope I got your name right. It's a pleasure to answer an email from you, Gurvinder. And he's writing from London. The question is as follows. Dear TBR, do you think it would be a good idea for TNA to come up with some sort of video game in order to promote themselves? Companies such as WWE, WCW, and ECW, and even Backyard have used this method to help promote themselves. Well, the answer is, I suppose yes. ECW did have a game, WCW, WWF, although it must be said that the ECW video game was really, really bad. Keep in mind, though, that the market right now is really flooded with wrestling games. There are so many WWE games on the market right now. There have been for about 10 years. There was a lot of WCW games. There's only one or two ECWs. Because of that, people like Acclaim, people like Jack Specific might want a bigger name than NWA TNA to promote. Of course, Backyard Wrestling isn't really based around one particular federation, just the idea of a bunch of kids hurting each other really badly. So would it be a nice step forward? Yes, but I'm not sure it would necessarily be a money spinner. That said, they're looking at magazines, they're looking at video games, looking at anything that can get the NWA TNA name out there. So if anything like that happens, we'll let you know right here on TBR. Our next question comes from Fred in Yorkshire, who asks, Hey Blake, what do you think about all these big roided up stiffs who can't work and keep coming into the WWE? Guys like John Heidenreich, Luther Reigns, Matt Morgan, Nathan Jones, Tyson Tomko, etc. Well, Fred, that's quite the question there. First of all, I'd say that it's a bit judgmental to call all the aforementioned stars big, roided-up stiffs. While there's obviously a lot of juice in wrestling, all these guys do work very, very hard on their physiques. And as well as that, for people who haven't been in the ring, it's not really fair to be that judgmental about these guys. When it comes to the broader question, which people ask a lot, which is basically, why does WWE hire so many big guys who are unproven, many of which leave the business or simply don't get over, simply don't have the talent, despite their height, despite their muscular build, to become stars? The answer, I suppose, is simple, is that WWE's mindset, right or wrong, is that they'd rather buy 10 big guys and have one of them work out than buy 10 small guys and really have them all work out. In the eyes of a lot of promoters, Vince McMahon being one of them, they're looking for the next Hulk Hogan, the next Andre the Giant, going back to the days where wrestling was more of a carnival sport and people walked by and saw, oh God, look at this great big behemoth, this guy's a wrestler, this guy's a fighter. Visually, it's a lot easier to sell that, so it's worth the risk on a lot of guys for that one diamond in the rough. They scored with Brock Lesnar, they scored with Hulk Hogan, they scored with Andre the Giant. And even though there have been plenty of guys who probably won't make it that far signed up recently, they're going to continue to keep looking for the next Hulk Hogan. The next question comes from Aram Nasrallah from Denmark, who asks, Dear Blake, first of all, thanks for doing this great show. Every wrestling fan I know loves it. Well, thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. WWE has fallen in the ratings the last couple of years. What do you think is to blame for it? Lack of stars, bad storylines, bad matches, or simply because the people have gotten bored with it? That is my thought, since 2004 has been quite a good year, with Benoit and Guerrero in the main events. Raw have been better, but can't say the same for SmackDown. So what do you think is the reason? I know we get sometimes a lot of negative mail towards WWE, and I don't want to come off like we're bashing the competition or anything. We love all wrestling promotions here at TWC, and they all take a bit of a licking now and again. You heard Jim Cornette say plenty of bad things about NWA TNA, for example, a couple of weeks ago. However, with WWE's ratings declining, it's quite obvious that a lot of fans aren't too happy with it right now, such as our young friend from Denmark. I would have to say that right now, looking at the WWE product, they're looking for the next new direction. In the 80s, they had the whole Hulkamania direction. They had rock and wrestling. The next big boom for WWE came with Attitude, which really took that direction and went backwards. And because a lot of the fans in the 80s were children growing up, people who were 10 to 15 years old, say your prayers, take your vitamins, in 1998, they were 10 years older. They were 25, and Steve Austin was just that kind of hip character looking to catch on. If I'd say there's one problem with WWE, and this is certainly not confined to WWE by any means, it's that they go in too many different directions all the time. The one thing that a promotion needs is vision, a vision for what they want to do right now, what they want to do in the immediate future. And a lot of times, a lot of promotions, WWE among them, come across like they're booking week to week and throwing as many things at the wall as possible. As soon as they find a new idea and a new star which is truly original and catches on, I've no doubt their business will be right back up again. And this letter comes from Ben Harris, who asks, Hi Blake, have you ever been to see an FWA show? If not, you should. It's great. Well, thank you for the positive letter there, Ben. I have not gone to see an FWA show, but I have seen it here on TWC. In fact, they're changing time slots, and they're going to be on, in about 5 minutes from now, right here on TWC. It's been great, from my point of view, to see the English stars, and a lot of stars from Europe come into FWA, and to see England represented better than it's been in years right here on TWC, especially the fact that we get around to all of Europe. Hopefully it'll expand the English base a little bit. I do hope to get to see them very soon, and I know that this Sunday they got a big show coming up, Hot Wired in the Broxbourne Civic Center, and I hear Steve Carino's going to be over for that one, so we're going to see maybe we can get him over here to do some stuff. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Anyway, FWA, new time slot tonight right after the Bagpipe Report, so check it out. Now it's time to check up on some events coming up right here in Western Europe. Revolution British Wrestling happens Saturday the 18th of September at the Selbeck Hall in London. 3 Count Wrestling takes place September 17th in Billingham. United Kingdom Pro Wrestling happens Thursday, October 7th in Hackney, London. And Cleethorpes Winter Gardens plays host to the Frontier Wrestling Alliance this coming September 30th. Okay, now let's check out what's happening this upcoming week right here on TWC. Okay, coming up on NWA TNA, we've got a tag team match between Michael Shane and Shane Douglas against the Fallen Angel and the Lethal Low Key. Then we have a fatal six-way. Petey Williams, Nosawa, Frankie Kazarian, Elix Skipper, Jerry Lynn, and the Amazing Red battle it out. There can only be one. CJ O'Doyle and Derek Wilde hit it off as 3PW returns to your screens. Then in the main event, it's a tag team hardcore match. Raven and the Sandman, two ECW icons versus Zandig and Wife Beater. And for fans of technical high flying, you're going to want to check out Ring of Honor High Impact TV. Jay Briscoe takes on the Amazing Red, and then AJ Styles, the Phenomenal One, goes one-on-one with Jerry Lynn. That's about what we got this week, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you don't miss this coming Monday night. It's a shoot interview part 2 with Jerry Lawler, one of the all-time legends, takes you inside the business. If you want to see what it's really about, check out Jerry Lawler. He'll take you to the inside. Now check out the WrestlingChannel.tv for all the upcoming shows, programming notes, a whole lot more, forums. You want to check it out. It's all free. It's all online, the WrestlingChannel.tv. And check out the BagpipeReport.com. You can see this episode, all our exclusive interviews, and much, much more. We'll be right back this same time next week with the latest news, latest interviews. Steve Corino, right here on the Bagpipe Report, the former ECW heavyweight champion, NWA heavyweight champion, legend from Japan, from America. He's fought his way up through the wrestling business. Back in ECW, thought this guy's never going to make it. He's not going to make it through. He's a small guy. He turned into a very big guy. He did it himself. We'll tell you how right here on the Bagpipe Report next week. You guys take care, ladies and gentlemen.